Good day everybody, we are today in Cornwall and we're at Narhead today. So we're at Narhead, we're here to do this wonderful Starfish Decoy site. We've done a lot, haven't we? But we're in Cornwall, so it makes it a little bit more different. We can't access this, that's not the point that we can't access it. The point is it's still here. Also behind us is an RSC post which we're doing separately, again similar, can't access that depending on when these videos come out. Hi Sophie.
Hi.
It's a little bit windy because we're literally right by the coast, Narhead. We are literally on the very tip of part of the Cornish coast. Beautiful. Hi.
It's windy up there.
She just quickly checked if there wasn't, just if the escape hatch was open, but it's completely covered. Anyway, let's go and have a look at it. Come on. Well everybody, we've just had a quick sort of like look around just so we can get our bearings. Welcome to Narhead Starfish Decoy Site. If you've seen my channel, wow, it's the most amount of things we've done on the channel is decoy sites. In fact, Sophie has visited a few with us.
Yes.
We've also, as a recording this depends when that comes out, we've actually done a nice abandoned Starfish Decoy site in Cornwall. I'm having to sort of speak up a little bit louder because it is what it is.
You can hear it.
I'm going to take you around.
Fabulous.
And then we're going to have a look before this dog comes. Hello! Well everybody, welcome back. We're just having a bit of a nosy really because the RSC post is right next to it. It's actually quite fortuitous. It's not the first one actually. If you check out my channel and you see in Cambridgeshire near Maxie's got the same one which Market Deeping RSC post next to what would funny enough be referred to as Maxie Starfish Decoy Site, although Max is the village and then Market Deeping I think is sort of closer to the town side of things in Cambridgeshire. But the point is that this isn't the first one where an RSC post is situated next to a Starfish Decoy site, interestingly enough. So I suppose let's talk about the history of this. So we're in Narhead, like I said, and it was built as a part of an N series. So N series is quite interesting because on our channel they're more, I would personally say they're actually a little bit more rarer than most, which is a naval series of decoy sites. The idea was that, ooh, let me try get you back around so you can see it's way more interesting than my face, trust me. The naval series is basically, the idea was that it was to deflect enemy bombing from the Royal Navy installations, and namely on this occasion it's actually going to be Falmouth, and there was another one that was across the bay that was actually used for the same. Now that one isn't there anymore. This is the only one. It's obviously ran by National Trust. Again, this was controlled by replicating a series of lights. Now I will say this as a beautiful note, the illustrations really make this easy to understand on this. So basically you've got a series of baskets that are sort of made of petroleum, and then what happens is that they get ignited. Okay, so that's where your petroleum is, where your fuel is. And then the idea is they get fed into these troughs and series of like baskets basically, and those baskets sort of get ignited, and then what happens is, I'm probably repeating myself, so I apologise, and obviously for you World War II complete aficionados, you've got to respect the fact that I'm trying to do a brief version of this. The idea was that these baskets were meant to be sort of set fire, and they were placed strategically to basically mimic naval installations. In this case, we've seen RAF bases, and we've also seen civil decoy sites as well. Whatever the purpose was, it was to replicate these sites. The idea was then to fool the Germans would come over, and the idea was that these baskets would be pre-lit to replicate actually the Germans already have been started to attack. So then they go down, they go, oh look, this is where we've got to be, because this is what's being attacked, because obviously the fuel, etc, etc. They come down here, and then obviously that's really it. We also know that most of these decoy sites would have been operated by a small crew. In most cases it would be about 4 people, and the idea was that they would get called in, and they would be like, Germans are on their way. Nazi Germany would have been on their way with their bombers to destroy potential sites. You need to basically replicate quickly. You need to set fire to these lights, which are all lights that had already been laid out already. Set fire, and in hopes that the Germans would have been fooled. Now again, the argument is, how effective were they? There's an interesting statistic here which actually says on it that, because I can't actually remember it, but the idea is that, this is why we're here, it does say on here that these decoy sites, about 786 occasions. The argument has always been, I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, actually to their true effectiveness, and as I sound like another broken record, probably one of the most famous ones which we have done before is in Portsmouth, where there was a genuine fooled German attack on one of these decoy sites, and it paid off. Although there's 786, you've got to understand that actually when you think of how many Starfish Decoy sites there were, actually, if you probably look at it statistically, it's quite a small number actually compared to the amount of Starfish Decoy sites, because they were labelled in different types. For example, I said before, like civil decoy sites, naval decoy sites, QLs, SLs, etc, etc, SFs. Anyway, I digress. This is really a fascinating one for the fact that it still survives. Sophie went up to the top to see if the command post was still there. It's not. It's obviously just been completely, like, they've used it to basically just fill up onto the top, and that's it. I like the fact that also on this, it just really gives you, like I said, I love the illustration of this. You know, again, if you've seen my channel, like I said, this is the most we've done. QLs, QFs and SFs starfish sites. Obviously on this one, it's a beautiful sort of illustration for it. Wonderful, really. I mean, like I said, it's yeah, very, very cool. I like it a lot. What I think is also is, obviously, I've always said on this channel, the bravery of these people. I've said, like, really the idea is you are here to be targeted. You're here so that the Germans came across and they were going to hit you. The only protection you had was these bunkers. The moment you lit them fires, you're back into this bunker to protect you. What we also know is obviously the generators would have powered all the electrical sort of stuff, and there would have been vents and other pipes, etc, etc, that would have helped funnel out all the petroleum, etc, etc, in their troughs, and they would have sort of gone down. Again, I'm talking very loosely on this. You need to see, type in on my channel Starfish sites. It's the most amount of, it's the single most amount of sites we've done on this channel, and it's for the very reason that their importance and their actual rarity on this, and how effective they are. Historians have debated amongst themselves, many including an armchair historian like myself, of how important they were. The fact was they did work, they did fool the Germans, but the point that I like to highlight is the bravery of these people. Sophie, as she's coming her way this way, don't worry everybody, we're going to do a very brief video, depending on when this comes out, of Verian's RSC post. It was going to be a very small video, but for Sophie, what do you think? You've been to a couple of these now. What do you think of this one?
I've not seen one like this before.
You know.
This is pretty cool.
But what it does do is it proves also with starfish sites, they need to be remote. You can't get any more remote than this.
No, but it's remote, but also to protect enough. It's remote enough.
Yeah.
To protect a major city.
Absolutely, and that was really the most important thing, to stop any time that these got attacked by Germans. That was X amount of lives that were going to be saved.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got to really understand, is even though the effectiveness can always be debated, the fact of the matter is that even if the Germans did get lucky and hit one of these, that's enough lives saved on that bombing run that he doesn't. So those crew members have got to be remembered for that. I think we've covered it pretty much. That's all really I wanted to say on this. Thank you, National Trust, for being actually preserving it and doing a great job of it. And that's pretty much it. I think we said it all, haven't we? Really safe, I think, on this one. I think really the only thing now to do is just to say thank you so much, everybody, for coming along with us. Feel free to check out more decoy sites that I've done on this channel. Trust me, you can't miss them. Thank you, Soph, for joining me. We're going to head off to the RSC post now. Just have a quick nosy at that one. Take care, everybody. And in more words, think history, because history matters. Are you ready? Kapow!